Well, hello and good morning. Slightly different surroundings this morning. We're in Rosehill. Yeah. So yeah, Monday morning for my opening vlog, we came from the quayside before work, and then obviously Tuesday night was down in Whitley Bay, and then Thursday from home. But this morning's, I just wanted to do this one just from around here before I go and pick up my mate who lives in the area. And then we're going to head to town, have some breakfast, and then a day session in Edinburgh. Come on, that'll be good. So looking forward to that. But anyway, in terms of Newcastle United, a couple of bits of housekeeping just from Monday night's match that I just want to go over. Now, some friends have asked, was it a penalty incident? Well, me seat, safe standing in the strawberry corner. At the time, I couldn't tell. But retrospectively, when I've watched it back, it was a pen. Now, could it have affected the overall outcome of the game? Yes, it could have. Certainly, it would have got we're back into it 2-1. The crowd would have been up. But again, I just think I'm not going to dwell on it. Look, that result's gone. It's just one of those things that, yeah, it could have happened, but there's no point crying spilt milk over it. That result's been and gone, so we just have to move on. And like the other thing I've been asked is, did the international break affect our momentum? Now, the end of the day, we were the last team to play out of all the Premier League clubs. All of them were affected by it, so no, it's not an excuse. Yes, we had Tino away, Gordon, Hall with England, Sandro with Italy, Isak with Sweden, and Miggy and Bruno respectively were in South America for Paraguay and Brazil. But at the end of the day, come on, every Premier League team is on international duty, and you have players away travelling. And as I said, we played Monday night. We were the last team to play. So no, it's not an excuse. It's just looking for excuses of why we lost that. But it's like Eddie Howe said yesterday in his press conference, it was a frustrating result. Of course it was. But it's up to the players and it's up to the manager to correct that. So, but we'll come on to Palace in a moment. But for now, I just want to make one additional comment from what I'd done on Thursday evening, and that's about them trying to amend the FGR, the Independent Football Regulator, Lord Bassam of Brighton trying to put that through Parliament just to stop states like Saudi Arabia or the Public Investment Fund from owning clubs like us, or stop like the Abu Dhabi Group from owning Manchester City. So the only thing I wanted to add is yeah, I'm still not worried from it. There's been no change on my perspective, so I'm not doing a climb down. It's just one thing I wanted to add that I didn't is that separation's been proven. So it's already been proven that PIF are separate from the Saudi state and all this. It's been proven by Yasser and PIF themselves when the takeover went through with the Manda and the Reuben brothers and that. So no, I'm not worried by it. So that's just another little piece of housekeeping I wanted to do. So anyway, let's get on to Crystal Palace, shall we? Right, so Crystal Palace, you join us just back around the corner and just down the road. So yeah, today we're going to Selhurst Park. Well, I'm not, as I said, I'm going to Edinburgh, but I just wanted to still do pretty much thoughts on it. Now, I have been looking at some interesting stats. Is today a game we should be winning? Of course it is. If Newcastle have any aspirations for Europe, you've got to be going down to teams in the bottom three, as Palace are, and winning. Because Ipswich, I think, are currently 18th, and then Palace are 19th, and then rock bottom is still Southampton after their draw last night at the Amex, which I've got to quickly add, just a little interjection, is that they should have won. I think they were harshly done by, but there we are. I'm not going to hold any bitter thoughts from the opening day. They should have won that. It's crying shame that they didn't. But there you are, that's football and that's VAR. The deemed Armstrong was involved. So anyway, back to us. Yeah, so looking at our record, do you know what? It's not actually that good at Selhurst Park. Now, I've had to look back to see when our last win was. Now, honestly, surprisingly, Well, last win there actually was almost 4 years ago. Yeah, surprisingly. The 27th of November 2020, lockdown, remember that? When no one could go anywhere, no one could do anything, we couldn't go to matches. Such a frustrating time, which none of us want to go through again. But yeah, 27th of November 2020, no crowds were present. So that's when we had on the score sheet Joe Linton, Callum Wilson, who by hook or by crook are still here. I'd say they deserve to be, like I've said before. Wilson's injury record is frustrating, but at the end of the day, let's just get behind him, think how he feels. And he came through Monday night unscathed. So yeah, Joe Linton and Callum Wilson, the last two players to score on a 2-0 win there. And then if you're going back to, just going to cross over, head back up that way because I'll be picking him up shortly. Now, if you go back to win before that, it was actually under Alan Podger, would you believe it? It was a 3-0 win, and that came on the shortest day of the year, the 21st of December 2013, I think it was, 2013-14 season. Ironically, the last time we won at Old Trafford. But yeah, 2013-14 season, and the scorers that day were a certain Johan Kabay with the first, Mike Williamson with the third, and an own goal in between, sandwiched by them two players from Danny Gabardon. So yeah, well, last two wins there have been clean sheets. Now, can we do it today? Honestly, I think we can. Of course we can. I know our record's not great, but we should be going to Palace, beating teams like this. They have got impressive players like Eberechi Eza and Eddie Nketiah has been confirmed, along with Eza returning today, but Newcastle should be going there and winning. They've got to. If they want any aspirations of Europe, and to show that Monday night was just a hiccup. So yeah, I think we can get a clean sheet because, let's be honest, defensively, that's not been the issue this season. It's been covered before, but we only conceded 13 goals. And I think why they're the third or maybe now fourth best defence. I know Liverpool are top, Arsenal are second. I think Liverpool had 8, Arsenal 12, we're 13, but I don't know if Forest might be joint with her or just ahead of her. I know we're third or fourth, something like that. So yeah, defensively, it's not been the issue. But yes, hasn't been defensively the issue. It has been scoring goals. As I covered on Tuesday night when I was down Whitley Bay, our current scorers out the 13 goals is Fabian Schär with 1, Joe Linton, Anthony Gordon with 2, and then 4 for Alexander Isak and 4 for Harvey Barnes. Now that comes on to team selection. Now, the Wallsend Burns just down there, and speaking of Burn, that's someone we missed badly Monday night. And Lloyd Kelly's poor performance, it fell for both goals. That's why he comes straight back in for me for Lloyd Kelly, because Dan Burn, we wouldn't have conceded the goals we did, and we absolutely would have kept, in my opinion, a clean sheet. He makes that much of a difference. He has. I could arguably say since he moved left centre back, because left back wasn't his natural position, but he done well he had to, and it got with top 4. Albeit maybe capitalising on when a couple of teams weren't doing so well in Spurs and Liverpool, but you finish where you deserve to on merit. But yeah, Dan Burns arguably been my player of the season since he came back in left centre back. I reckon there will be one other change to the back 4. Now, as much as we love Tino, I love him, he's done great. I know a lot have been saying stick to it, but I just feel we'll miss Kieran Trippier's leadership on Monday night. And he came on too late when the deficit was too much. So I'd just say the back 4, obviously in front of Pope, it'll probably be Trips, Shaw, Byrne and Lewis Hall. And then and now obviously the worry was the other night is that Bruno Guimaraes went off with a glute injury. But he's recovered. We've seen he's been in training, and as confirmed last night. Last night and yesterday morning, Eddie Howe said that Lewis Miley will play for the under-21s. He did at Whitley Park last night, and the club's Premier League 2, 1-0 win over Crystal Palace. Ben Parkinson, well done lad, getting on the score sheet. So yeah, Lewis Miley played. Now, Eddie said that he would travel with the squad, like, well, he could travel, but he basically then confirmed later on when he was asked questions, like, would Bruno or Sandro play, and Eddie basically confirmed, Bruno's in the team, because we're record, it's being covered by Keith Downey and Craig Cope. Just give nods to them that, yeah, we haven't won 7 games since Bruno came to the club. We haven't won a single game in that 7 matches. So that's a alarming stat. And Eddie said, well, it's one he hopes that he doesn't have to figure out a solution to. But again, we're going to have to at some point. We can't keep relying on Bruno. So, but obviously Bruno's captain. So if he is fit, then he's going to come into the team. He'll stay there. Despite going off with his injury. Joe Willock recovered from his injury. But I do think Longstaff will still sit into the right of Bruno. And the question in the centre is, do you bring in Sandro Tonali, or do you move Joe Linton back inside? Because my suggestion earlier in the week for me lineup, if Bruno wasn't fit, would have been that back 5 I said. But then it would have been a midfield of Joe Linton left, Bruno in the centre, Longstaff on the right, Barnes left, Gordon right, solely because he shows he can cross against Arsenal for Isak's winner. And then obviously you stick with Alexander Isak with his record. It was 4-4, it's now 4-5, but it's still impressive. 0.8 goal conversion. And because Wilson's just returned, so you don't want to like push him too hard. Just want to ease him back in, because he'd be happy to be back with the squad and want to make an impact, and it still gives Isak that competition. So yeah, that would have been my team. But again, along with Pope and that back 4 I've mentioned, all I'll say is I reckon he'll stick with Bruno, be Longstaff. I'd like him to risk it and maybe move Bruno left, Longstaff right to the midfield, and play Tonali as a base, because Tonali, in my opinion, can play there, and we'll get to that in a second before I wrap up. But yeah, I think he might stick with, now Bruno's fit and Willock. It'll be Willock, Bruno, Longstaff in the middle, and then it'll be a front 3 of Joe Linton, Gordon and Isak. Whether Gordon or Joe Linton are left or right, we'll wait and see. But we'll see from there. But yeah, gonna have to wrap up with the burning question that everyone's been talking about. I'll be back in just a moment. Hello, sorry there. Second part of the video, I was rudely interrupted by a phone call. So yes, anyway, the Bruno and Tonali question. Now, you've got to think they can work together. I know it's been covered umpteen times, but it just seems like Eddie Howe doesn't fancy them, does he? Now, there's been lots of suggestions, and I think they would work. Like, could you play Bruno and Tonali together and then sign a 6? But again, it seems like Eddie doesn't fancy a 6. Or could you just play them in a double pivot and then have a number 10 in there? I think they could both work, but for some reason Eddie Howe's not fancying them. I just don't think he trusts them to play together, and it is frustrating because it makes you think, what was the purpose in them signings? Because he's brought Sandro Tonali in, and is this what Paul Mitchell was questioning in terms of recruitment? We've signed Sandro Tonali for £55 million, but then he's not playing, and he's an Italian international, and he showed his quality in recent breaks. So what is the point in Sandro Tonali if he's not going to play? Does Eddie not want to drop Bruno? Or does he not rate Tonali? I mean, there's lots of questions to be asked here, but it's just, honestly, it's baffling, and I can understand why a lot of the fan base think they can play together. I think they could, but again, the thing that could get them playing together is a formation change. But again, formation change is something that Eddie seems reluctant to do. Because if you did change it, maybe a 4-2-3-1 or something else, put your suggestions in the line. No suggestions are wrong. We're all here to debate. Yeah, it's just, could they play together? Would love to see them play together. I mean, Tonali's last start was Chelsea in that cup win, but then he hasn't been seen since starting. Yeah, he's had a few appearances off the bench, but yeah, he hasn't started since then. So anyway, yeah, it does make you think, what was the point in signing them? Because then when it comes to FFP, who stays? Like, again, was he signed as a Bruno replacement? But then no one activated Bruno's release clause. So it's like, will Sandro go back to Milan or another club in Italy? Is he actually settled? Even though he's appreciative of the club and fans standing by him after his gambling ban for 10 months. But yeah, it's that's a age-old question that we keep coming back to in the last couple of seasons. His only goal was the 5-1 win over Villa on the opening day of last season. So yeah, the midfield's not been contributing as much as it should. But yeah, Sandro and Bruno, again, it has been covered in videos. It is like the England problem. Gerrard and Lampard can't play together. That's it. But again, is it down to the manager? Because under Sven, he done a 4-4-2. He tried to shoehorn them into the centre of midfield, and he kept sticking a player, Paul Scholes' quality on the left, which was mental. So yeah, that's just that question of, can those two players play together? I all believe they can, but at the minute he's not willing to do it. So it's got everyone scratching their heads. And I mean, even when Bruno came on in that cup game, he moved to the left of Sandro, and he looked well. So again, I think Sandro's more deep-lying player, so you did play him as a 6 and then let Bruno go forward, because Bruno did show promise in the wins in the season that he come in the new year. Southampton, he was a bit more forward. Leicester, he scored the diving header winner. So he's proven he can get the goals. Norwich, the 3-0 win, the little dink over the keeper. He's showed he can get the goals when he's more forward, so we'll have to wait and see. Right, anyway, so that's all my thoughts. Again, put what you think today's lineup will be before it's announced, or your comments, suggestions on today's video below the line, and then I can answer any that you've got any burning questions on, or what your thoughts are. Again, like I said, no one's wrong. All here to give our opinion and just have a discussion about the tune. Just want to say, aware the lads today. I hope we'll go and win down at Palace, get back on track before a big game against Liverpool on Wednesday night. But yeah, anyway, so thanks for joining us. Safe trip to all the fans going down to Selhurst Park today. Bring them 3 points home, and aware the lads.